talk about just Talanoa and kind of what he brings to the defense as a whole, but specifically your group?
No, I mean he's a playmaker. He's someone who's got really good instincts, good grasp of the defense, understands it well enough to know when he can and can't take a chance on things, and then he studies really well, so he understands, or at least anticipates, what the opponent's going to do. So he's doing a good job, and that type of playmaker obviously makes us a better defense.
What's your excitement going into a completely opposite year this coming year, where you're not teaching a whole new group, you have everyone back for the most part? It's a totally different circumstance for you.
No, that's going to be good. A gentleman earlier was asking, and it's going to be good to have this group coming back, because now they've gained a little bit more experience, and then now all they can do is just get a little bit better. So I'm excited about it, and I want to see them compete, because just because the guys are playing and this guy's going with the ones and twos doesn't mean that two can't beat out the guy that was with the ones, and that's what I want. So.
Sorry to already asked this, but how strange were those 11 days between the end of the season and when Clay was officially retained, just to be an assistant coach? You know, obviously you're out recruiting, you're kind of thinking about the future, but you're not totally sure about the future.
Yeah. When you're a coach, all you do is work until somebody says no. So, in regards to what Coach Hamilton was telling us, all he said was, hey, lock in and recruit your butt off and go do what you normally do for this time of the season. So that's all we did. It's nothing that we could control. Obviously, in our minds, like, okay, what if, but none of that matters. So what we're doing is we're out, we're on the road, we're working our butt off, and we're recruiting.
And they haven't told you to stop yet.
Exactly. So that's all we can do. That's all we can do.
How do you kind of use these practices before a bowl game, especially when you have such a young group that that can still make some big strides in there?
Well, it's given me an opportunity, because again, we're still in roughly 12 to 14 practices, give or take. So the young guys get more reps practice. You know, I've started to look a little bit forward. So for the guys that are going to redshirt, I'm shuffling guys around. And, hey, try this new position and start learning it a little bit. So I'm getting some of that going right now.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that are playing, they're locked in. You know, but the guys that are going to be redshirted, we may be moving a couple of them. So I'm giving them a chance to start off at that spot now to start learning. So for me, it's good for the young guys.
Is it kind of like a trial period for some of those new positionings and stuff?
Trial / we're figuring this is where it's going to go. So we're still working. It's still early.
With as many young guys as you have, do you treat this the bowl period, do you treat it differently than if you would have a veteran group?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Everything's the same. It's game week. As I was telling the gentleman earlier, we've got 2 weeks to prepare. So today was a Wednesday. We treated it like a Wednesday. In my mind, we're playing Saturday. So tomorrow is going to be a red zone day. We're locked in on all those situations. And then the next day is an overall. And then, okay, now we give them a little break. And then we start it all over again. So for me, it's game week.
The Big Ten's known for as a physicality, running run first conference. As a defensive back coach, how do you kind of approach when you're playing a Big Ten team?
Well, I mean, just any team. To me, it doesn't not necessarily worry about with conference, but they're a running team. They have a solid quarterback. The running backs are by committee. They have 3 that play pretty well. They're big with the tight ends. They utilize 3 of them, 3, maybe 4 of them. And their receivers are solid receivers. They run routes and they're willing blockers. So with all of that, for me, again, that's what we know about them. Respect them. It's still us doing what we do. Our run fits are going to be our run fits. Our coverage is going to be our coverage. So for me, it's more focusing in and locking in on what we got to do. We've got to clean up some footwork. We've got to work on our approach on tackles a little bit better. All of those things are what I'm more worried about versus what they're doing.
Who has impressed you the most this season with their gains?
Good question. I would say Zay. That'll be the first one that comes to mind. Because there were some things he had to work on, and in the middle of the season I was kind of on him, and then he started coming around and locking in on it a little bit better in regards to some tackling stuff and stuff like that. I would also say Greg, because it was such a last-minute decision to move him from corner to nickel. So for him to have excelled at that spot, I thought I'd say initially those are the two. You know, Steele is young, but he's a corner. I'm happy with his youth and what he's done. I'm happy with what he's done. OG, I mean, there's so many. So, but the first two that come to mind would be Zay, and then the next one would be Greg.